back to another SuperCoach video with me, JD. You're joining me for the round 17 review. It's been an okay week for me, surprisingly, actually, looking at the results on Open. I was traveling, I think, for a really good week, and then obviously the Neil C hurt, but I want to say something like 60% of the comp had him as C, so not too much of a disaster, although it does feel a really bad way to finish a Sunday. For those that were sending me well wishes about the cold last week, thank you very much. There's still a little bit of it lingering, but mostly better, which is good. It's been passed on to the kids now, which has been fun to deal with, but it is what it is. All right, so today, I guess, there's not a lot to go over, right? A lot of us still in the same boats where not much to do in terms of trade. So, like, captain and vice captain is probably the biggest call we can make, as well as, like, maybe some team setup stuff if you've got bench cover. Ooh, site's going slow. There were, though, a couple of injuries which are worth talking about in Oliver and what to do in certain situations. I think who was this, like, Nankervis. I don't know if many people have Nankervis. I just know DR does and a couple of other guys that were DMing me about Nankervis. I had him for, like, most of his good run. So, yeah, well, like, what to do with him. Where's his ownership at? 6% of the team. So there's a few. Ooh, hold on. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, like overall, like this is another good rank up 1500 spots. Hopefully top 5K next week. I don't know how far I can push because I'm just so far behind, but I guess I've had like top 2K scores a couple weeks in a row, which is pretty nice. Take that. Obviously, what helped me this week was the Heaney Stringer loophole action. So, started with Heaney, got the 112, very nice score. So yeah, bench Stringer, obviously just put him as mid-bench cover, and that paid out well. Got like a nice little point boost off that. Stringer did not have a great week. If he'd kicked accurate, a couple of other things got his way, could have been all right, but not to be. This week is the same boat from memory. The only thing is I'm not sure if I'm going to have the necessary loops to actually make this happen. But anyway, we'll get to that for my team. So quick rundown here. The Blues boys in Doherty and Hewitt were very good. Sinclair was very good as well. Like it was nice to see him freed up again for a second week running around. Dawson was the one that copped the tag this week, and I didn't watch a lot of this game, but they moved him forward in the fourth to free him up a bit. Like given that he was tagged, this score is okay. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. They play the Pies this week. Pies not known to tag, so hopefully that gets released. But you do get worried anytime a team does have success tagging because you then become susceptible to one in the future, especially if you're a very important player for that team. So I don't know, we could see it in the future. The player that was tagging defense this week was Dale, which was not a surprise once we saw what happened with the laid out news. So we saw Clark come in for the Swans, and as soon as he came in, it looked like he was going to be a tag. He was the one that tagged Sinclair 2 weeks ago successfully, and the formula, I think, is that in that game, Hill was out already, so it was only one of their kind of two-pronged attack was there. You lock down the other prong, you take away the drive out of half-back. I think the same thing happened this week as well, where you've got Dale and Caleb Daniel are normally the two that drive out of defense. Caleb Daniel's obviously out injured, just leaves Dale. That means you can bring in a tagger and kind of take out the other side as well, and it really hurts the drive out of halfback, which we saw again. Dogs really struggled at halfback. They toyed around with moving Treloar behind the ball to free that up a little bit. Treloar had an all right game from a SuperCoach fantasy perspective. I think it was probably like close to the top of the Dogs actually, but actually I know it's true for fantasy. Yeah, he might not have kicked very well. Hold on, 94. That was all right. But yeah, like it's that Treloar move behind the ball. Like I don't know, neither here nor there. It's an interesting thing for Dale owners, the people that jumped on, because they're playing the Saints this week. So would the Saints employ a similar tactic given that Dale's still going to be out? Not sure. It's one of those ones where I suspect not, because if they like having Sinclair behind the ball, and the Dogs like having Dale behind the ball. Saints probably back in Sinclair doing that to a higher level than Dale would, and both of them get free up as a result, but we'll see how that plays out. Crisp has continued to have down games. I'm just trying to remember. Did I watch this one? I don't think I did. They played North. Oh, I did watch some of this game. He was invisible for pretty much everything that I watched. Yeah. Very surprising. I mean, the result overall was surprising, where I think I watched the second half of this game and Chris really didn't do that much in it, but that was the part where the Pies actually came back and won. So, yeah, I would have expected all the Pies boys to score big this week against North, given how North have been playing. Didn't pan out. Very disappointing as a Crisp owner. And then Short, this role is not good. This role is not good, and he's struggling to put in like just mediocre scores. He hasn't tonned since when? Here? Round 13, that was a 102. And then before that was round 10. There's a lot of poor games in here. North this week, and I don't expect North to have back-to-back good effort. So I don't know. Tiger should run over them. Shorts should score well, because if you forward the ball against North, you'll at least get points. But we'll see. Now D'Ambrosio was injured today and got subbed off, and I actually don't recall what the official diagnosis was in the end. Like, they were saying that it was a corked quad or something like that. You normally don't see people subs for a corked quad. So yeah, I actually need to check this whether he's out long term or not. But I hope he's not. I hope, because one of his cover, he's obviously been playing well as well. So this is very disappointing. Mids. I mean, so the start of last week, I wanted to do Neil into Laird, but I couldn't do it because of the loophole options I had, and that's really unfortunate because it definitely cost me points, just because of how much I wanted to get Neil into play given his history against Essendon. Essendon don't tag. Neil smashed us before, and we still didn't learn that we should tag him. But for whatever reason, I mean, I don't know. I guess I should be happy that we've finally learned from our past mistakes and applied a tagger to opposition's best player, neutralize their impact and help us win a game. But for SuperCoach, this was a terrible week for us to finally come around and learn that lesson after not learning it for years and years. So yeah, pretty annoying here. Missed out on some points over those that had like Oliver. I know some in the Discord had Miller as well, so nice little point boost for them. Thankfully, all Neil's like contested work helps boost your SuperCoach score a little bit, because this game was pretty woeful. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Oliver, Laird, Miller, McRae, all good. Merritt was amazing. Petrarca and Cripps. Yeah, Petrarca kicked 3 goals for a 91, which is rough. If there's no Oliver this week, and I guess that is like big talking point, what happens with Oliver? If there's no Oliver this week, hopefully he scores well as the lead guy. They've got Port, who been playing all right. I don't know, maybe not. And then Cripps, I mean, first half was horrible. Second half was like day and night. It was much better, but yeah, I've been saying for a few weeks now, if I could trade him on to steal, I would have. And yeah, if you're in a situation where you can, then like absolutely do it. Because yeah, I mean, that's just bad. I wish I had steal so much more, but that's the team. Wits and Darcy were both pretty good this week, I thought. Nothing to write home about. Like, Witt started slow, but I think built into this game quite nicely. And this is Darcy's hardest matchup, the dual Saints Rucks, and he still managed a 111. So that's pretty happy with that. Forward line, Dunkley was disappointing, but given how good he's been all year, it is what it is. Everyone's got him, so not much to worry about there. English is back, which is nice. Didn't have the best game, looked like quite slow and laboured at times, but a 97 should build from that. He's now got the Saints duo this week, which isn't a great matchup, but it'll be all right. And then Bont was okay. He was really good early and faded late, but nothing to worry about there. Cogs and Parker both really good again. And then, Heaney, bit of a blue moon game as of late for him, but happy to take it. I've now got the choice between Heaney against Freo this week or Stringer against the Suns. I'll probably play Stringer out of those two. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so things to talk about, what to do with Oliver, and this obviously comes down to your team situation a little bit, right? So, oh yeah, what am I even talking about? Like, I don't have this choice. So, assuming, let's just assume Oliver's out. 'Cause if Oliver's not out, all this stuff's mute anyway. Um, if you've got cover like me, at F7, M9, F7, then you're just playing that this week. If you don't, and you don't have any rookies either, so you're copying a zero, I guess the big question is, um, should you trade Oliver, or should you get cover on the bench? And I think that's really tricky to answer. So trading Oliver out, I don't like as an option. I don't like as an option because I still think he's one of the best moves from here. Although I'm not sure how coming back with the hand will affect him. Although it didn't really affect Laird at the start of this year, so probably not a big problem. So I especially if you've got like 2 or 3 trades. I don't want to trade Oliver out. I mean, you could to steal. So it probably depends on what your other option is. So if you've got no cover, and the other option is to get a playing F7 M9 for cover, and that would take you down to 1 trade. I don't hate it because it can then cover other 1 week trades as well. But it really depends on who this like M9 would be. I've got Stringer. I don't know if I love Stringer as an option. Is there anyone really good in here? Because this also comes down to budget. Because if you can afford like the 500k guys, then great by all means. But if you're looking at 400k, who's in this range? That's like what, forward mid. I don't want Goulden. None of these guys have a like decent few round average. I guess Stringer. If Perkins was back, I wouldn't mind that as a shout. Oh, you could go Langford. He's finding some form. Kicked 4 goals. Yeah, this is pretty hard. I'd have to look at this list for a little bit longer. So I don't. It really depends on who you could get as your M9, F7. How many trades were to do it? So if I was going from 2 to 0 to get like a 500, like a good option, but a 500k one, I wouldn't like it because then I'm still at risk down back. And if I have a season-ending injury from one of these guys, like say Laird gets a season ender next week, I don't want to pay the guy, like play the guy I got for 500 in here for the rest of the year and have no cover. I'd rather have traded Laird out and then just have 1 trade remaining for a bench situation. So this may seem like I'm waffling a bit, but I'm kind of thinking, working through this out loud for those that aren't in my situation. So if you've got lots of trades, then I think you can trade Oliver even just for the 1 week, or if you want to, but it probably makes sense to get a good bench cover. If you've got like only 3 or 2 trades left and you've got no cover at all, I think if in 1 trade you can get to good cover, then do that. Otherwise, I'd probably trade Oliver, even though it's just a 1 weeker. It feels bad. I don't know if, yeah. If you've got 2 trades, I don't think you do anything. I think you just cop it. You either get cover or you cop it. And if you're at 3 trades, maybe you can trade him for a 1 weeker. Still don't love it though. That's really hard. Hopefully he doesn't miss. I mean, it's a 9-day break. Oliver's tough. He might get up. They kind of need him. Their form's not great. Tough. The only other thing worth talking about this week quickly is some of the new DPP changes. So there's a bunch that aren't relevant, like Cottrell. What did he get? He went from mid to forward mid. You had Perkins, who's gone from forward to forward mid, not relevant. Atkins, who's gone from defender to defender mid, not relevant. One that is relevant is Himmelberg, who has now got defender status as well, so you can swing him back, which is quite nice if you still have got a loophole back there for whatever reason, or if you do have a defender that you need to trade out, you can move Himmelberg back there and then open up a forward spot instead, so don't mind that at all. Shields gone from mid to mid forward, relevant. Day's gone from defender, Wilday that is, to defender mid, irrelevant. Finlayson has probably got ruck status, yep, forward to forward ruck, still irrelevant. Marshall is the one that is somewhat relevant in that he's got forward status, but I mean, no one's got him, and you're really not trading him in unless Ryder goes down. So, yep, it's probably more relevant just that he's got enough forward time for next season, in which case Uh, he potentially someone we can start in our forward line, which would be really good. Like, yeah, very nice option. If there's no rider, he's a potential start in our ruck line regardless. We had Bailey Williams go from defender to defender mid, not really relevant. And then for those that still have him, Hoff picked up defender status, and that might be useful for you. So yeah, all the DPP changes. Okay, so captain, vice captain, only other thing to really go over this week, and it is tough. Like the teams that we look for, Hawks, West Coast, North, Adelaide, are all playing other teams that don't have a relevant Supercoach player in them. So when we could look at someone like other Dogs players, McRae feels pretty hard to trust at the moment. Has not been scoring well lately. 149 against the Dogs last year. That's all right, but sorry, against the Saints last year, but probably not looking there. Bont and Dunkley, I can't really trust as options, even though Bont had a good score against them last year. What about English? Yeah, I mean, like, this is not good for Ruck, so I don't think he'll score well. So Dogs are all out, I would say. Petrarca as a solo mid against Port would have been interesting, but I don't trust him as a captain option. I think Laird in against Collingwood is a good option. Let's see what his history is. Come on. 144, 185 in his last two. Well, that's pretty nice history. So, I mean, Collingwood doesn't have the best midfield. Laird's in form. It should be a close enough game that maybe get some scaling and stuff in there as well. I really like him as the VC option. I think that's pretty safe. Neil, it feels hard to trust after last week, although I wouldn't be surprised if he backed it up. Carlton against Geelong will definitely not Cripps. Is Doherty an option? I doubt it. Free against Swans, I don't think anything's there. I mean, maybe it's Took Miller for the C against Essendon. I have a feeling his history's not too bad against us. Oh, it's actually not great. I don't think we'll get tag happy, but I guess we could. Like, we could send Caldwell to Miller for a second week, which would scare me as a C option. Maybe Wits. Like, it's not like Draper's been rucking amazingly. Or it could be Darcy, actually. So if there's no Hickey back this week... Ooh, just swapped around. If there's no Hickey back this week, and Darcy's racking against Laddams, it could be Darcy. So Laird into Darcy, I think, is where I'll start with. String will be the emergency in the midfield, just because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to play him instead of Oliver. No one else here, I think, is going to get a game. No one else is going to return. So yeah, that's it for the week. Hopefully just keep moving up, which is nice. Not cop any season-long injuries, so I can hold on to these trades. Another rank change like this, get me into the top 5K next week would be nice. Keep moving up. But yeah, let me know how your week did. If you want to get advice on Oliver missing 1 week, and you have, share your trades left and what you've got for cover, can probably lean and think about it a little bit more. It's a bit easier for a specific situation rather than in the abstract. But if he does miss 2 weeks or more, then I think it opens your doors a little bit more. In terms of popular players, I'd be looking to trade out. I mean, Cripps to steal is probably the biggest no-brainer. Petrarca, I think, is fun to hold. In defense, Short is probably the one of mine. At least I've got anyway that I'd be comfortable moving on. And the forward line, Heaney's, yeah, I'd move him on. But all these other 5 are good here. These rucks are fine as well. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Let me know how you go. Let me know if you are weighing up any trades. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one.